back to the channel and another video. This is the Premier League show, week 4. So got nearly a month's worth of Premier League action under our belt now. So let's get into it and review week 4. Before I do, if you like what you see here on the channel, please give the video a like and then subscribe down below. Again, if you're enjoying what's going on here. So this week, the early kickoff began with Southampton versus Manchester United. Man United, they had a great pinball of chances first half with 3 really good blocks in that chance. Dalot whipped in a cross. Fernandes had a header that he fluffed, and then Elanga, Ericsson and Fernandes all tried to fire it back into the goal to no avail, and there was 3 really good blocks from Southampton there. Che Adams, he had a nice turn and shot right into David De Gea's hands just before the half ended, and then Che Adams had another chance, but he hit the P-roller into David De Gea's hands as well. Martinez at the back was really napping to let him in. He switched off, and Che Adams ran in behind. Man United in the second half, they got their goal. Dalot hit a beautiful ball in, and it fell into Bruno Fernandes, who hit a lovely finish. Southampton, they had a late flurry trying to equalise with a header, which was saved, and then Carl Walker-Peters headed it straight over the bar, and they also had an acrobatic kick chance right near the end, but Man United did enough and held on for their win. Southampton did what I thought they'd do, and they gave Man United a game, but they just have no end product to try and get the draw or then get the equaliser and win the game. Man United, they must be happy. It wasn't their best performance, but they won the game and they did what they had to do. Man of the match for this one, I actually thought it was Dalot on the television. They gave it to Martinez, but I was more impressed with Dalot myself. Dalot on the day, he had 100% on his dribbles. He had 67 touches of the ball with 37 passes. He won 6 out of 9 ground duels. He played 6 long balls. He made 4 tackles with 3 clearances, and he completed 2 crosses. He had 2 interceptions, 1 block and 1 assist from one of the 2 crosses that he had. Anyway, next up for Man United, they have Leicester away, and they'll feel confident heading into that one, whereas Southampton, they've got Chelsea at home. The next game that was obviously on the television was Arsenal versus Fulham. I'm really impressed that Arsenal ground this one out and come back and got the win, but please see the full review of this on the channel instead, where I actually break it down over a longer period of time than what I would do here. Going into the televised games that were on the Sunday, it was Wolves versus Newcastle. And I thought Wolves played really well here. They had an early chance where Guedes, after a beauty of a ball from Ruben Neves, went to find Neto, who just blasted the ball over. After that, Willock had a great chance to have an opener, but he hit the ball wide. And during that, Nunes for Wolves in the build-up was very, very lucky because he pulls Longstaff's shirt back, and it's an obvious penalty, and the ref was literally right there, and I don't know why he didn't give it himself, or the VAR didn't flag that up to give Newcastle the penalty. After that, Guedes lined one up for Ruben Neves, who, if you leave him that much space and time, is absolutely lethal. And he smacks the ball into the goal. It's a really, really nice goal and a nice hit. Wolves put the ball in the net again. However, it's a foul from Pedro Neto in the build-up. He does just bundle Ryan Fraser over here. I saw a few people online saying they thought it was harsh, but no, he completely pushes him over there. And then Newcastle, the equaliser, is absolutely breathtaking. Murphy, he's trying to get it across. I think it's Hwang for Wolves, just hits the ball high in the air. It's like a cross sort of clearance, and SAINT-MAXIMIN just absolutely levers it on the volley into the net. He is a very, very special player for Newcastle, and I don't think he had a good game at all, but he produces these moments in games that either get them points with a draw, like here, or he can potentially win the games on his own as well. Newcastle potentially could have won it at the end, but Elliot Anderson hit the crossbar from his header. Newcastle, they got a good point out of the game that they didn't do very, very well in. However, they got justice for their penalty not being given in the first half, and they got a point after Saint-MAXIMIN's goal. For me, man of the match here, Ruben Neves. He had 100% successful dribbles. He had 58 touches of the ball with 34 passes. 11 of them were into the final third. He had 10 out of 13 long balls successful on the day, but he also mucked in and done hard work. He recovered the ball 10 times. He won 7 out of 10 ground duels. He won 5 out of 7 tackles as well. A really all-round performance from Ruben Neves, and he's such a good player. Wolves have made him captain, so I can see him staying there for this window definitely. But he's got to move on eventually. I think he's too good of a player for Wolves currently. Maybe Wolves will improve going forward and get back into Europe and see where they go from there. But he's an exceptional talent, and I'd love to see him at Arsenal. Next game was Nottingham Forest versus Spurs. Now, this game went exactly how I imagined it would go. Antonio Conte's plan and ethos was in full effect here. The first goal is absolutely appalling from Forest. I mean, Kulusevski, who he gets better every game I watch him, I think. He's superb. I might have to stop watching Spurs because I feel like I'm contributing to how well he's playing. But Kulusevski, he puts in a lovely ball, and Nottingham Forest just all back off and part like the Red Sea, and they let Kane finish it. It's shocking. It's absolutely shocking from them. Son after that hit a curling shot that fizzed over the bar. Morgan Gibbs-White, he had a great chance, but he slashed it over for Nottingham Forest. And then in the second half, the penalty is absolutely bizarre in my opinion. I don't understand what Cook is thinking. The bloke, he can't tell his arse from his elbow, this guy. I think he's been dreadful even when he was at Bournemouth, and he's dreadful here still when he's at Nottingham Forest. He was absolutely awful on the day, and this just confirmed it for me. Dean Henderson, he saves another penalty, and you think, oh God, that's going to bail Nottingham Forest out. Nico Williams has a chance that he hit wide. Son fizzed another one at Henderson, who produced a really, really good save. But then Spurs, this is what they do. They wait, and they either get you on the counter or they wait for you to make a mistake. And they weren't really aware. They thought the ball was potentially going to go out for a throw-in. Richarlison picks it up. He hits a beauty of a cross, and Harry Kane just hits a diving header. Spurs win that game 2-0, and Forest, as I predicted, they had a lot of huff and puff, but it was to no avail, and Spurs done exactly what they've been doing all season, and it worked for them. For me, the Conte tactical genius narrative, which is being peddled around from the media, I think is a bit much. It comes from these journalists who, for years, criticised Sean Dyche and the way that he played football, and they called him Brexit ball and everything else for the whole time that he was doing it, albeit he done it with much worse players at his disposal, and he didn't have the England captain up front. Spurs, they go into the game at West Ham away, which could be a really feisty affair next, and Forest, they've got to survive the thriving Manchester City. So going into the games that was not televised, Brentford ended up playing Everton. Brentford, they had a cracking chance from Mbeumo that just went wide, and then Janssen hit the post with a nice strike as well. Pickford on both these chances just did not have a clue. He was completely wrong-footed, and he was very fortunate that obviously they did hit the post and hit it wide. Anthony Gordon, he scored for Everton, and it's a lovely line breaker of a pass from Cody into him, and it's a well-taken goal and finish from him. So that shut me and Tom up after all the digs that we had him in the last video. Everton, I hope with this goal, will probably fleece Chelsea out of more money now for his signature. So his 60 million fee might become 70 or 80 now. Ivan Toney, he rattled the par with a header for Brentford, and you're thinking, oh my God, are they ever going to score today? And they keep hitting the post or the bar, and Wieser followed it up and fluffed the rebound. After that, Norgard hit the bar with an overhead kick. Raya, he made a lovely double save off Gordon, and then Moikalenko, who was following it in. And then finally, Vitaly Janelt got the equaliser after a nice flick on from a set piece by Lewis Potter to help Brentford get a point. Brentford, they've got a tough away day next at Crystal Palace, and Everton, they've got a tough game away versus Leeds. Talking to Leeds, they were away to Brighton here, and Webster, he had a cracking chance from a set piece, which he should have scored, but he didn't. And then Sully March had a lovely run, but not a lovely finish. He hit it straight down the throat at Meslier. March had another one in the second half where he did exactly the same again, was through on goal and hit it straight into Meslier. And then Sinstera for Leeds, he had a great chance but didn't convert it. Pascal Gross, he got another goal for Brighton. It was a lovely finish after a nice ball in from Trossard. And Brighton, they get the win, and they must feel confident going into their away game next versus Fulham. And Leeds, like I said, with Everton, they're going to try and bounce back at home in their next game against them. Chelsea then played Leicester, and Conor Gallagher got sent off here. He was already on a booking, but he brought down an advancing Harvey Barnes, and I can see that at the moment he's the subject of transfer speculation still. Apparently, Crystal Palace have put in a bid to get him permanently, and I think it's probably best for him to do that move. I don't think that Thomas Tuchel actually wants him at Chelsea. I think he's only just been playing him out of maybe desperation, and it hasn't paid off. He's got sent off here, so I think that's the end of him potentially being a Chelsea player. And hopefully, if he does move back to Palace, he can carry on and thrive in the same form that he had last season. Leicester, they put the ball in the net, but it was disallowed for a foul. Reece James, he then rattled the bar for Chelsea, and I thought he had an amazing game. I thought Reece James did really, really well out there. Raheem Sterling finally got his first Chelsea goal. He looped in a lovely goal on the first one. And then Sterling, he scored his second. He fed off a lovely cross from Reece James to make it 2-0. And then Harvey Barnes hit a lovely finish to make it 2-1. Right at the end of the game, Ayoze Perez rattled the bar, and he really should have scored, and maybe Leicester got a point on the day. Chelsea, they'll be happy with that win after the loss against Leeds. They head to Southampton away, like I mentioned earlier, where I think they should win that comfortably. And then Leicester, they've got Man United at home, but it's a real mess for them at the moment. They're sat at the bottom of the league, and they could really do with a result, because I think potentially Brendan Rodgers is on a very, very sticky wicket here. Next up was Liverpool versus Bournemouth, and Liverpool, they got off the mark with a goal from Luis Diaz with the header. Harvey Elliott, he made it 2 with a really well-hit goal. Trent then says to Harvey Elliott, anything you can do, I can do better, and he hits an absolute belter for him. Firmino, he got the 4th goal, pouncing onto the high deflected ball into the box. Van Dijk headed home the 5th goal. Chris Meppen, he hit an own goal for the 6th, a minute into the second half, and that just summed up Bournemouth for me. Firmino, he made it 7 after the initial shot from Robertson was saved, and then Fabio Carvalho made it 8 with a lovely hit, and then Luis Diaz headed it again in from a corner to make it 9-0 to Liverpool on the day. There's nothing I can say more about Bournemouth other than, for me, they are absolute muck. And they showed it here with a 9-0 loss. They've got Wolves at home next, who have a terrible away record, but you must fancy your chances after watching this. I think Wolves have got enough to surely do some damage to Bournemouth on the day. Liverpool, they've got a tough game. They've got Newcastle at home, which will be a much sterner test for them, and we'll actually see how far this Liverpool side have come, because they had a great performance here, but like I said, it was Bournemouth, and I know Arsenal, you can only beat what was in front of you, and they got a good win against them the other day, but I really do think Bournemouth are an absolutely terrible side. And if you're a Bournemouth fan watching this video, I apologise, but I do believe you are going to go straight back down. Next up was the champions, Man City versus Crystal Palace, and Eze whipped in a free kick for Palace, and it pinballed off a few players before it hit John Stones on the way in to make it 1-0 for Palace. Joachim Andersen made it 2-0 for Palace with a lovely header from a corner by Eze. Bernardo Silva, he got the equaliser for Man City after a lovely ball from Rodri. It takes a deflection on the way in, but it's still a really, really nice goal. Erling Haaland, he makes it Desmond's with a nice header from Foden's cross. It was nice to actually see Foden pick him out, because it's been a few weeks where there's been chances like that and Foden's gone for goal himself and not put Haaland in. Haaland made it 3-2 with a tap-in, latching onto Stone's scuff shot. And then Haaland, his third goal was the pick of the bunch. He latches onto a lovely through ball by Gundogan and places it into the goal. And it's just what a player he is. And he's only getting started. I mean, it was a hat-trick for him on the day and a 4-2 win. And he could have easily been player of the week for me on just this performance. But we'll get into later who's player of the week. But yeah, Palace, for me, they shouldn't be too downbeat heading into Brentford at home. They should just carry on doing what they're doing, playing how they're playing, and they may get something out of that game. And then as for City, they've got Nottingham Forest at home, and I can't see Forest, really giving them a challenge. I think City should beat them to a canter, just like they did here. And then the last game was Aston Villa versus West Ham, and Ezri Konsa, he had the ball in the net, but it wasn't to be, as the ball had gone out of play from the set piece and then come back in. Bowen, he had a great chance for West Ham, but he just held on to the ball for too long. And then Fornals, he gets the goal for West Ham after a big deflection. And it's a big win for West Ham. They really needed that one. And they've signed Paqueta this week, which is a massive, massive deal for them. I'm quite jealous, actually, that he's gone there, because I fancied him for Arsenal, actually. But no, I'm happy that he's in the league. And I'm happy he's in the league, and I'm excited to see what he does. Obviously, West Ham getting a bit of form before going into the Spurs game. And then Villa, who are on an absolutely shocking run. They are away to my Arsenal next, and I can't see them getting a result there either. So, player of the week, I mentioned it earlier. For me, it's Roberto Firmino. Yes, it was Bournemouth, and like I said, Bournemouth are absolutely muck. But to get 2 goals and 3 assists in a game is class. So, Bobby Firmino this week is player of the week. The goal of the week again, Newcastle in its SAINT-MAXIMIN. Newcastle, they've got 3 goals now in contention for my goal of the month after Kraft and Trippier's goals earlier in the season. And now this from SAINT-MAXIMIN's in the mix. It was a sublime goal and a sublime hit. I said it the other week when Luis Diaz got his equaliser versus Palace. And I'll say it again here for SAINT-MAXIMIN and Newcastle. When you need an equaliser, there's a way to do it. And if there's a way to do it in a dream world, this is the way to do it. It's a sensational goal. It really, really is. Looking into the games this week, Palace versus Brentford on paper for me could be tasty. And then West Ham and Spurs, that's always a tasty game. And then you got Liverpool versus Newcastle. And you know what? I don't mind if I can see another 4-3 like the old days in there. But anyway, thank you for watching the video. Please leave a like and subscribe if you didn't already. And I hope you enjoyed it. And if you're watching any of the Premier League this week, I hope you enjoy that as well. I'll be back with the Arsenal reviews and more of the Premier League reviews. So just stick around here and hopefully you enjoy the content just as much as I enjoy making it. Take care, everybody.